if somebody was questioning where they stand in the spectrum, what are some indicators that might suggest I'm a person that is misandrist or
And just to be
misogynist?
clear, misogynist is any prejudice against women, where misandrist is any prejudice against men.
And I'm glad all of these people are part of the audience, by the way, because that's the whole purpose of the show, is for us to come with
to come together
exactly
and have the conversation together. We'll go ahead.
Right. So what are some signs that I might be misandrist? And then we'll go to Anita and some signs I might be misogynist.
You would just, what did she do? It was her fault. Everything is her fault. She broke up the marriage instead of actually hearing, you know, everything's a woman's fault per se, or you lean towards a woman being the reason for whatever the situation may be. And as far as a woman, it would be, what did he do to you, girl? Yeah, I bet he did. He didn't come home last night. That might not even be the reason. I mean, none of that, all that could be wrong, but it would be the man being the one or the reason for the problem, even if it wasn't a problem.
Okay, so everything that come out their mouth pretty much is the other person is at fault for the situation.
No accountability, right?
No accountability.
It's the victim game.
It's the victim game.
Got it. Got it. Okay. That victim game, that's a clear sign.
Yeah. So.
And just an overall disdain, a contempt. You know, there's a contempt that comes along with misogyny and misandry. You know, there's just this contempt that, you know, I love men. I love that they created this entire world that I live in. I love that they're, you know, they're doing all the jobs that I don't want to do. No, I absolutely adore men. And I said this last week on a live, if the world were ending, I want some kick-ass men on my team. Absolutely. I want some gun toters. I want some, you know, some jujitsu fighters or whatever. I want strong men on my team. I had a strong father. I want you to look at that. If there's no strong father in the picture, that's a big red flag. If the woman was raised by nothing but women, you got to look at that. There's definitely some misandry there, because again, they can't appreciate a man. They can't appreciate everything that a man brings to a situation. So that family, like we said, you got to look at that family. Hold
on, now that's a lot of families though.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of families.
I know.
You're attaching yourself to someone for the rest of your life,
right? Right.
That's a lot of years. That's a lot of attachment.
Yeah.
Find out.
And is it just as well for a woman vetting a man, the relationship that he has with the father and the mother? Is there anyone in particular that's more important to you off the top of your head, or they both are equally important to vet for health?
Well, see, listen, you do have to ask questions, but I don't think women are in a position to vet men. So I think women should just pay attention when it comes to a male in relationship. Just pay attention.
Interesting.
Hold on, wait. I want to make sure. Women are not in a position to vet men. They just need to pay attention. What's the difference between vetting and pay attention?
Vetting, you're asking a lot of questions. You're putting them in situations. You just in there asking a lot of questions, where I think you should see if you tell a man what you want, the wrong man will give you exactly what you said you want.
He sure will.
So if you're asking questions and you saying, and he's asking you questions, what would you like? What kind of man do you want in your life? He will become that man. So if a woman won't verbalize it and she just sees how he moves naturally, then she can see if that's the man for her.
Right.
And then when it's time to court or marry, then you could take up to your uncle, your dad, other men, and then he can put them to the test of, okay, let's move to the next part of this relationship. And then that's where we start divulging all of this craziness that goes on within the family.
Wow. So women are essentially giving men the roadmap to their heart.
Absolutely.
And the men
and they just falling in line. They'll say, I want a God-fearing man. I go to church every Sunday. And they'll go. But do they have a relationship with God?
Right.
So that's why I say women shouldn't vet.
That makes sense though. I mean, now that would take a team. That's a team effort.
Right.
And you got to have some trusted males in your family to take them to as well. But I like that strategy.
After they got past the first threshold, then they go to those men in the family. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Going back to the video that we just watched and we reviewed, we see that she said that she made that decision because of the community that was in her ear. What's the ideal community that a woman should have to insulate her? in the marriage?
It would have to be a mom and a dad, I think.
Mhm.
But if you don't have that, I think it would just have to be a relationship with you and God, because a lot of times we don't have it. So I think you have to align yourself to know exactly what's good for you and what is right. There's a blueprint for marriage in the Bible. We can always go back and look at it and see what a husband looks like, what a wife looks like. And the more we align with that, the better off that we are if we don't have those people in place. I don't believe in sisterhoods, you know.
Wow.
So, no.
Well, hold on, wait. You're gonna have to break that down for me. So, because
Right, she
because the
just be
first thing
trying
I
to
thought
slide stuff
about,
by us.
most people say a woman needs to be around other married women.
She needs to see what that married woman looks like, but be around. I don't entertain single women at all.
Okay.
Now, if she's wanting to be a married woman, I will give her what she needs and direct her in the right direction to do so. But we're not hanging out, because single people don't think like married people.
Mhm.
We don't. So her interest is for herself. Now, when she wants to become that wife, and I'm directing her to God and like, this is what we need to do. You got to read some books. You have to align yourself. You got to change your Instagram. There's no way that I'm going to be on Instagram showing myself and say that I'm preserving myself and I'm a changed woman trying to be a wife.
Don't make sense.
You mentioned that in one of your last shows.
Yep.
It doesn't work like that. You know, if I'm seriously thinking about becoming a wife, I'm doing everything. My mindset is totally changed.
Yep.
I am seeking out what a wife actually looks like. There are places
Wow.
that a single woman can go to become, you know, hang out with a married woman, but it's not like we're going out girls trips and things of that nature. There could be women's retreats and things of that nature that she can actually come along with. But
Okay.
just us hanging out and you coming over my house and things of that nature, we're not doing that. So we just have to align ourselves with what God says and let him use us and just talk to women, I guess, and then come to certain platforms where you learn how to be a wife. Now, I talk about being a wife, you know, how modest you should be, how your speech should change, you know, how your response should be to men, respectful and things of that nature. It doesn't mean that we have to agree. I don't have to agree with a man to respect him. You know, it doesn't mean I'm submitting to him either. It's just that we have a difference in opinion, and you can do that as an adult. But sometimes it gets all messed up because this social media platforms that we're on, and, you know,
Yeah.
it messes you up. You don't understand what submission really is. You don't understand what obey really is.
Right.
So you have to actually study being a wife, in my opinion.
So hold on,
Wow.
I need some game for me, because, you know, I'm really in a place where I'm truly like considering marriage as like the next level up for me as a man, period. And I started reading The Purpose and Power of Marriage, Dr. Miles Monroe, right?
Mhm.
So as I started reading this book, I instantly started thinking, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to. Now, I'm halfway in the book now, and I'm like, I need to smash a bunch of marriage books, because that book alone is really like the way it's gearing me up and how relevant it is for what's about to happen, and just the preparation it gives you and understanding. It reminds me of when, you know, me and Ryan, typically when we're about to make a big decision in business, we typically get a coach.
Yep.
And what happens is that coach puts us in a position to increase the likelihood that we have success
Mhm.
by helping us understand a framework for how to have success, tells us some threats we might have to watch out for,
Mhm.
gives us the formulas that we need.
Mhm.
It pretty much gives us a little prep kit
Yeah.
for what you're about to get into. And equally, I imagine that when I'm reading this, I'm like, wow. First of all, and halfway the book, I'm like, man, folks that went into marriage and ain't read this,
They in
I can
trouble.
imagine
Yep.
they really, you got jumped, you got thrown into a gunfight, and you just bare-fisted right now.
Right.
Yep.
So should I also be looking, the woman I'm dating, should be just as serious about reading these books and educating herself in this way before I even consider that decision?
I think so. I
Yeah.
think you have to learn. Even one more. At the beginning of our marriage, I read The Power of a Praying Wife, which taught me about men. Because I think women that are married need to know men. I needed to
Mhm.
know my husband. I needed to know how you all function. So that was a big read for me.
The Power of a Praying
And y'all
wife.
better write these books down,
Okay, I'm
y'all.
gonna look
Listen,
that one up. I'm
listen,
about
y'all
to
better
add that
write
one to
these
the
down.
library.
Power
Facts.
of a Praying Wife.
Okay.
It outlines, I think, maybe five different personality of men.
Yep.
And you're reading it, and it takes you to certain scriptures along the way. And all the while, you think that this man is changing because you're seeing things change, but it's really just you.
Right.
You're gaining empathy and compassion for the man that you're with. You're understanding him. You're actually becoming one with that man. That's what the book does for you.
Right.
Mm.
But as far as this being a wife, see, I don't even think a lot of people, when they're thinking about becoming married, they even know the concept of marriage. You know, man came first. You know, he made woman for the helpmate
Mm-hmm.
of the husband. I don't think they even understand that. I think that's like, this is something we say and we move on. It's just a good read in the Bible. Nobody ever dives into it and say, hey, what does this mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's why we take that role as wife for granted. That's why women are somewhere saying, oh, this is a slavery position. If you knew how serious that position was, you wouldn't see it as a slavery position. You would see it exactly for what it is. I mean, life is in this woman that runs this household, that caters to this man, that empowers this man, that submits to this man. This is life. And we carry that. And I always say, if we are better women, we're going to have better men.
That's it.
Because a man
That's
ain't not
it.
going to give up a good woman.
Right. Right.
He's going to do all he can.
Yeah, that's the basis of my platform. That's why my platform exists, is to create better women. And
Right.
that's what I keep telling them. If you change the standard, men are going to meet that. But as long as you lower yourself down, they're going to go right down to the gutter with you. So yes, a woman should be just as passionate about doing what you're doing, if not more so.
If not more.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's really good, because if you consider it, man, like, if you don't see you, or really you too, I think as a person, just being accountable to whoever's listening to this, if you're probably not willing to read a book about marriage before you get into it, you're probably not going to be willing to deal with not a damn thing that comes on the back end of marriage.
Definitely.
Nope.
So I think that's a really good precursor for y'all to really see if y'all are going to be able to work on the back end of marriage by just being able to work on the front end before y'all get into it, because it is so easy to get into and not as easy to get out of.
Yeah.
I'm curious, Anita, your following is mostly men or women?
So right now I'm at 62% men.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then SB, what about you?
I'm more men.
Okay. So, and the reason I ask that, because I've never seen this many men in the chat. It's a lot of men in the chat right now.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
And we've had conversations on the show that, hey, men don't really like relationship talk. And honestly, that was my perspective, unless it's extremely divisive. Right. Now that we got a bunch of men in the chat, they seem to be some mature men. They kind of, saying how they feel in the chat. I'm just very curious from you guys' perspective. Why don't you think more men tune into our channel?
I thought you all started out being more male focused. Did you have more men starting out?
Nah, we never
No,
did.
never.
We never had more
Never.
men.
I did not know that.
I thought we would too.
SB
You
looking
know.
over there like she got a mouthful over there. Because this is the thing, women want to know. And we run into women in public all the time. They're like, hey, I love what y'all doing.
Mhm.
How do we get more men involved in this conversation? Because the whole reason that the women are coming to the platform is because they want to get better. They want to better navigate trauma and past challenges. They want to be able to, get to the level of personal fulfillment that they know they deserve.
Yep.
And at some point, they want to be at minimum prepared to be able to facilitate and be open to this loving connection from a man.
Yeah.
So they ask, hey, Ryan and Todd, where are the men? So SB, why are the men not, they listening to you two, they on y'all's platform, but why haven't they come to Hardly Initiated?
I think it's because y'all said this is a very safe space. So I don't think you all hold the women as accountable as men would like to see you do.
Wow.
Just because even like Miss Samantha, she said a lot of things, but I did not hear her say just straight out, I was wrong. I threw away my marriage. And I think women need to say those type of things so they won't make the same mistakes again. They need to hear themselves totally admitting exactly what they did, whatever the process was, so they don't have to do it again. Because if I bring in other people, oh, the person I called on the phone, they led me to do this. You really, you call the divorce attorney. They were just doing their job. Oh, these people over here, they brought them in. No, stop. You did it by yourself. You thought of it all. And if you just stop right there, I think that more men would listen to what you're saying, because now you're holding these women accountable. Because y'all love like really hard.
Yeah.
And I'm hurt right now. And she over there talking about she called her divorce attorney. She called them. Y'all tell her she called them.
Yeah.
But y'all ain't gonna do that. Y'all gonna listen to whatever they're saying, and it's gonna be okay, because there's some amount of accountability there. but it's not that hard. I mean, y'all are men. It's not that logical to the point, you know, you did it.
Mhm.
Don't y'all want to hear that?
I get what you're saying.
No,
Yeah, wanna-
absolutely.
Men want to
Yeah.
hear, you know, no word salad. They want to hear, I did it.
Yeah.
Now let's fix it. They want to be solution based. Women are not solution based. We want to just talk about what happened,
Yep.
how it made me feel.
Right.
Yeah, I did it. I messed up. And as long as you give them that place to come and do that, then they're going to be fine. But the
Mhm.
men are not going to want to hear that.
Right.
Mm.
They want to hear that you good now. I can't fix you. I don't want to fix you. And that's me. I'm not, you know, I'm like, ladies, you're going to get it together.
Mm.
Men are not going to fix you. And I'm holding the ladies accountable for it. That's why they kind of, you know, don't flock to me, because I'm always, you know, in their ear. You had 3 kids. What woman talks about a woman's babies? All I
Mm.
said was you had 3 kids, but they heard me say these babies did this babies did that. They heard me say so many other things. And all I said, you have 3 kids,
Right.
but they take it somewhere else and they run, don't they?
Right.
You know,
Right.
they
All
didn't
you
hear me
stated was
just
a
make
fact.
it. All I stated was a fact, but it's
Right.
like, how could you do that?
Yep.
And the men, you know, they just want us to recognize every part of what we bring into the table, because they're saying they come in 100%.
Mhm.
You come in 100% maybe, but you got 103. Acknowledge the 3% that you got, that I got to take care of if I pick you.
We got to figure this out, because we did a poll. I think it was last week or the week before. It was how many women or did women, it was like ladies only poll. Do you believe in gender roles? And I think another one was, do you believe in submission?
Yeah.
Mm.
But the women were like, hey,
Yeah.
yes,
They
I'm
do.
down with gender roles. Absolutely. I'm
Mm.
down with submission. Absolutely.
See?
But of course, it has to be with the right
With the right man.
the right man.
Yep.
So Anita, is there a middle ground where we can, is there a way that we can fashion these conversations to where it'll be both men and women involved in the same conversation? Or do we got to keep doing collaborations where we got to bring in the men and the women together?
We are, what I love about what's happening in 2023. So we are seeing men become more emotionally intelligent, go to therapy, read books. Like, we are starting to see men step up. And some of these women are not ready for that. They're not ready for an emotionally intelligent man, a well-read man, a spiritual man. We're seeing men starting to step up. And yes, we need to hold some of these women accountable. Women and men are different. I've always preached that. I don't want to change that. I love being a woman. I also am very much in touch with my masculine side of myself. So I'm kind of split right down the middle. I can be compassionate and loving and nurturing. I can also be incredibly logical and rational and fact-based. So I know how to work in both of those lands. I'd like to see more people be that way. And it's possible. It's called integration, right? So while I am predominantly a feminine woman, I am very much aware of the masculine side of myself. I can integrate that. That's what allows me to be accountable and responsible and not be the victim, is I can go over here and say, Anita, you opened your legs, you did that, and keep it real with yourself. You did that. You did that. You have great power. You have the power to keep your legs closed or, the other. And I want to see us do that more. I want to see women start to integrate that more and not live solely in this land of the feminine. I know that's like a whole thing now, is be more feminine, but it's like the pendulum has swung from here, like all the way to here. And we need to bring it like right in the middle. We need to bring it right in the middle. I think that will be helpful. Same with men. I have some great male friends who have figured out how to integrate their masculine side and their feminine side. What does that look like? I have a guy right now, close friend of mine. You can put an AK-47 in this hand and you can put a newborn baby in this hand, and he will know what to do with each of them. That's an integrated man. Okay, so he is strong, he is powerful, he protects his family, he is tender, he is, soft with his kids. That's the type of integration I'd like to see us start to talk more about. So it's not just one or the other. I'm all feminine. No, I'm not all feminine.
No.
I run 2 businesses. I have a household. I have things to do. But I've learned how to integrate that. So within my relationship, I am the feminine. I've made that decision, and I'm only dating a masculine. But clearly, I know how to be responsible. If something happened to my masculine, bills are going to get paid. Things are still going to get done. So I want to talk more about integration. I think that is super important, and we don't talk enough about that.
So check this out here, because before we get to the next segment, what I want to do here is I want to acknowledge that we have over 1,300 people in the room, and I want
Close
to
to
get this
1,400.
close to 1,400, and we still only have 500 likes. So let's push this to 750 likes real quick, guys. That means if you're on your phone, close your chat real quick, hit the thumbs up button. Just hit the thumbs up really quickly. I know you, literally just wait till I'm done talking and not do it, but just hit it for us real quick, guys, because again, that helps us spread the message and spread this out. And what I want to do now, I'm gonna let you get some super chats in before we go ahead and get on to the initiation hotline.
I definitely want to get on that hotline because I just never seen this many men in the chat. Like they sending super chats over
I'm
and everything.
loving this.
Yeah, this is dope. This is dope. This is what we need. We need everybody in the room on this. So shout out to SBU Live, by the way. Thank you, Ty and Ryan. Awesome platform and audience. Yeah. So SBU, listen, we love you.
We love you.
Thank you. Shout out to Marcus Evans. He says, "What up, SB? Keep speaking that real spiel for our women." See, yeah, it is a thing where the men, they really like what y'all are saying. They really like what y'all are saying. Yeah. I'm curious, ladies, if y'all are finding some level of agreement and understanding from these women, I want y'all to put something in the chat. We're gonna put in the chat.
Put real.
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 Because I don't because it's a reason why men follow y'all. Yep. And it's a reason why not that many women do. Yeah. So I really want to see if they can still resonate with some of the things that you guys are sharing, because we got almost 1,400 people in the chat. So somebody listening. Yeah. Right.
Absolutely. And go ahead, Ryan.
Shout out to Kay Ann. She says many smart women are emotionally empty. I'm trying to find a question here, guys. We got a bunch of shout out to Kay Ann. Shout out to VJ. Shout out to Highly Favored. Shout out to Anasia Lay. She says keep up the good work. Shout out to Kat Harlem. These are all our members. Like we love all of them. They just send love constantly.
We love you.
We appreciate y'all. But what I want to try to do is get some questions. So I know y'all get a little bored from all of the statement chats. So let's get into the call.
Yes, guys. So because what I want to do is I want you guys to call in specifically about problems that you're having in your dating life. Okay. We're going to talk to SB as well as Anita. Okay. About these questions. So go ahead and give us a call. Well, you're going to listen. Y'all come up here. We're going to be brief and brilliant tonight, y'all. I want a question. I want you to give me your age, your location, and a question. I know y'all want to give me your testimony. I know you love us. I know you want to tell us about your life and what happened yesterday and what you ate for lunch, but just give us your question. So, Lionel, let me know we got somebody on the phone, okay?
Shout out to Generation Love and Ariel Taylor. Ariel, listen, I'm going to take care of you tonight, Ariel. We're going to ask this question because I think it's a good question. And shout out to Greg D and Nicole Davis, as well as John Sharrock.
John Sharrock.
Shout out to John. All joining the YouTube membership. We appreciate y'all.
All right, so we got that number up. So y'all go ahead and give that number. And I'm excited. I think we're going to get a brother through tonight, man. I'm always excited when I hear the brothers come through. The brothers ask us the questions and the brothers get the game. It always makes me feel really, really good. And we don't have a call yet. So actually, until that happens, go ahead and read that question until we get our call in.
Shout out to Ariel. She says, as a single woman that's seeking growth before being married, how do I meet a man that's on the same journey of growth?
Hold on, wait. How about this? We got a call. You want to pause?
Go ahead.
Let's go ahead and take the call. That's the question. We coming back to it. Welcome to Hardly Initiated. Give me your age, your location, and your question. But you got to turn the show down in the back, my brother or sister.
Yeah, you hear us?
We hear you.
With us?
We hear you. Oh man, Lionel, let him go. So let's get back to the question here.
So pretty much she's seeking growth before she get married. How does she find a good dude that's on the same page?
Is that spiritual growth or?
It's a good question.
But I would say put yourself in a position where you want to grow in, whatever it is you want to grow in, put yourself there.
What's the priority growth? If trying to get to that next level, what part of growth should she be focused on first?
She has to have a relationship with God.
Spiritual growth.
Yeah.
What if she's just spiritual though?
Then she would want to grow into that relationship. I'm not saying pick a religion, but she still needs to read the books, learn how God loves, figure out what her purpose is as a woman, as a wife. What should she be doing here? What does it mean to be a helpmate? What does her equivalent actually look like? That's what she's asking, right?
Right.
What should he possess? how will I see and know who he is if he approaches me? Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a call came in real quick. We're gonna go ahead and take this one. Welcome to Hardly Initiated. Give me your age, location, and your question. Oh, come on now. Don't tell me we got another fake one.
Hello? Oh, am I on?
Yes,
You
you
on,
are
brother.
on, brother. What's popping?
Name, age,
Uh,
location, and question.
It's Therese from Baltimore, 29. How y'all fellas doing?
What up, T?
What's popping? 29 years old, man.
So my question is, how do you know if it is worth staying if you've been in a situation, like I said before, for 4.5 years? You're just getting into the place where you're really starting to get into your deep growth. Shout out to GS Youngblood on that last episode. I got the book already, and I'm 7 chapters in, and it's helping immensely in 5 days.
Excellent.
But right now, we're going back and forth. Like, honestly, I'm opening up and being more vulnerable. How do you know if it's really worth keeping going on, even though you are two incompatible people, but you're willing to fit the puzzle piece for each other? But there's just certain things where you might not always see eye to eye.
Did you? I just want to make sure I heard that. Did you say you were two incompatible people?
At times, yes. Because the situation is the certain attitude that she brings to me at a certain time, just like G.S. Youngblood's book said, it brings up a certain trauma in me from childhood. But now that I've got the book, I learned that I just have to stand more solid. And I'm accepting the fact that a lot of the times where I've been bothered throughout my relationship by essentially who she is, just from her trauma, is due to the fact that I've been dealing with my internal childhood trauma that I had no clue about. So it's led to some incompatibilities throughout this 4.5 years. And we're at the point now where we're just trying to figure out, should we even keep it going? Because we both have said to each other, if it doesn't get better from here, like neither of us want to keep it going, but we're both willing to work.
Okay.
So I'm going to make a suggestion as a marital counselor. You want to set a timeline. That's the first thing. You want to sit down and you want to set a timeline. And that timeline and the work you do within that timeline is going to determine if your relationship is going to continue. You need to be incredibly direct with each other in terms of your goals, what if you have the ability to work together to heal your trauma. Couples have the ability to work together to help each other heal their trauma, but you have to want to do that. You have to want to say, hey, I have these triggers, I have these wounds. You have your triggers and wounds. I want us to work together to see if we can facilitate healing for each of us. And does she want to do that? But you're going to set a timeline, and whether that timeline's a month or 3 months or, whatever that looks like. But if you don't see improvement in that period of time, there's a strong possibility that there is incompatibility. So about 75% of the couples that I see in my practice, they are incompatible. They should never have gotten together in the first place. That, they don't like hearing that, but it's the truth. A lot of us like pushing square pegs into round holes. And so, it's not to say that your relationship can't flourish and grow and be saved, but I would put a timeline on it. And I would definitely, read that book, apply what you're learning. I'm seeing too many people, they read the books that I recommend, but they don't apply it. You have to be willing to every day apply what's in that book. And then you're going to see what you have. There's an equivalent. What's an equivalent to that? Okay, there's an equivalent to that book for her. It's called Getting to I Do by Dr. Pat Allen. That is what I would consider the female version of that, Getting to I Do. She can read that, and she can, again, start applying what she's learning from that book.
T, thank you so much for calling
Appreciate it,
in.
T.
Can I add something to that really quick?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, we're
absolutely.
gonna go ahead and let T go, but
We're
yeah.
going to let T go. Yes, we want you, SB. Hold it down, T. But go ahead.
I wanted to add, married,
No,
he's not.
he's dating,
he's
Yes.
dating.
and do they live together?
Oh, T, let us know in the chat if y'all live together. But they've been dating for 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, what you got?
Well, if they are living together,
And I want to know the difference between the two, by the way. That's good.
well, my suggestion would be, if they are living together, is to get out of the dysfunction, cut off that sex. See, they're
Oh.
not being able to think clearly to what they have to actually do as far as healing, because we're having sex and we're covering it up with, every time we get into an argument with sex, and which is fornication, because we're not married. So we need to cut off the dysfunction so we can actually see what God wants us to do. And all these things will make sense because they'll be blessed if they're doing it the right way.
Makes
I think
sense.
they're holding their blessings up.
Honestly, that's
Wow.
didn't my man say sexual healing? That ain't
Yeah.
thing.
That's what you're
I
talking about.
got the
Yeah.
feeling.
I think that's a big part of
So
it.
really,
Okay.
so if they're living together, they need to cut the sex off as a part of trying to figure out what is happening with them.
Right.
And I mean, I would imagine that that's probably what you would recommend to most couples who are single and having issues about where they want to go with their relationship.
Absolutely. After 4 years.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have problems in any type of relationship.
right.
So what's the big deal?
Yeah.
So if I'm not seeing something clearly, I got to clear my head. Stop the sex because we're fornicating. So let's make it right. Stop the dysfunction. Now let's do it the right way. Even if he has to live in a different environment for a time, or just go on and get married, and you will see a difference.
Mm.
Wow.
And Ty, I want you to be clear because we want to take another caller real quick, but I want
Yeah.
you to be clear about what you want them to call in about.
That's a good question. Let's think about that, because here what we're talking about is let's go ahead and talk specifically about anybody who's having specific issues vetting someone for marriage. I like staying on that. I like staying in that in the area of vetting for marriage. You have a partner or a problem in a relationship that's not quite making it to the altar, and you want to call in specifically about that
Yeah.
relationship that you are currently in.
And just a quick side note on the super chat, guys. If you ask a question, me and Tyshawn gonna read that question on air. You got to make sure that the question or the super chat is at $10 or above. Now, this is the thing. If y'all sending a bunch of super chats with statements, of course we appreciate them. But if I go through and read 10 statements with no question, y'all gonna go ahead and log off and go to sleep at the end of y'all night. So to make the show as engaging as possible, make sure that you send over questions at that $10 or above mark so we can read them and keep the show rolling.
When we got somebody on here, give me your age, your location, as well as your question.
Tammy, Monroe, Louisiana, and my age is 54. Just had a birthday 2 weeks ago. Question is,
Happy belated.
so thank you. So I was dating this guy off and on for a few years, and we were going in separate directions. So I decided that, you know what, this is not good for me. And so I cut it off. It's been a year now. And after a year, and he's moved out, has his own camp, and I'm a single parent. And now it's like he's trying to do the things that I asked him to do when we were together. So he's in a different, in his own place. So my question is, how do I know that he's seriously trying to make it work, or is it just a convenience factor that he can come and go as he pleases because he has his own place now? It's like he wants me. It's like he doesn't want a relationship, but he wants to keep me occupied enough so that nobody else is interested.
So, Miss Tammy, you have to elevate yourself. You have to set standards, and you can't deviate from them. So whatever it is you want, you have to put that in place. Don't keep relaxing your your standards because he's familiar to you or with you.
Mhm.
Elevate,
Mhm.
want more. Because if not, you're only going to get what he knows who you are. So he's only going to give you the minimum amount to keep you happy. So if you definitely want something different, elevate yourself, set your standards, and just stay right there. You will see a big difference. And you may even meet another man that's better for you.
Thank you all so much. Ty and Sean, I love your show. I'm on every week.
We love you.
And put your book in the chat again, Miss SB.
I don't have a book. I think, was that your book?
Oh, choose well. If you're single, you
Yes.
choose well. A simple formula to determine the best man for you. It's going to give you the blueprint on how to choose a really great man. Most of us are not taught that.
Thank you all so much.
Yep.
We
Boom.
appreciate it.
Tammy.
Tammy.
I love Miss Tammy.
So hold
Yes.
on. Before we get to another call here, I actually want to ask a question because
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yes, I want to add Tammy. Actually, she's still on the show.
We're gonna let you go, Tammy.
Tammy, yeah, we're gonna let you go.
Okay.
All right. Later, Tammy. So
All right.
because I think this is a really, really, really good conversation. Yeah, we're gonna come back to the calls. I want to come back to the calls. Let's hold off on that real quick. But when it comes to, you talked about standards and you talked about settling. I want to actually talk about what settling is.
Yes.
Because I hear that a lot. I hear people say, I don't want to settle. Right? Let's actually talk about what do you guys think it means to settle?
They
in
literally
a
say,
relationship?
I'm single because I chose not to settle.
Yes.
Okay. I don't believe that people can settle. I think what you are demonstrating, the things you are putting out, you are receiving exactly what you deserve at that particular time. In order to get better, you have to elevate yourself, set different standards, and then you'll get a better companion or a better man. You'll get something better. But as far as selling, I don't believe in that. I think this is what you can attract at that particular time.
Wow.
Now that's a gut punch.
So you pretty much, wherever you at, you deserve this. You ain't settling for nothing. This is who you is right now.
That's what I think. If you want better, you'll elevate and then better will come. But if you're here at this space and these men are coming to you and they all seem to look alike and they all seem to act alike and they all, and that's all that's coming, then that's what you're putting out there. That's your projection. That's it.
So it's not a real thing if they just sitting back waiting for the right man or the one to come around.
What that is delusion that makes them think that they're thinking that they're the prize right now and there's no work that needs to be done. And I'm going to dictate the relationship, which we already said women do not dictate relationship. They're forgetting that they have to attract this man. They can't just sit back and be like, I got this, and I got that. And this man is supposed to come and recognize that they have all these things, because men don't want that from us. You get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
Men want certain things from us. And those are the things we need to elevate ourselves in so they can be more attracted to us. But we just not getting it. We think it's the money. We think it's the education. It's all these things that men say they don't care anything about.
Nope.
So Anita, what are men communicating that they want?
Nope. They want affection. They want your smile. They want your attention and your time. They want care and compassion. They want inspiration. They want to be accepted. Oh, I hear that so often. Yes. Accepted and appreciated.
They want you to rub their bald heads.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Is that true?
I love, oh my God. That's like a major key right there. Sometimes I'll be having oh my God, a woman that just knows to rub my ball. I would love it and just be kind of weary. Like, where you learn this from?
They
You learn to rub my head like this, girl.
They want you to take off their boots when they come in the house.
That's it.
Oh
That's what
my
they want.
goodness.
That's it.
But see, sometimes a woman will feel like, I think today a woman might look at that as putting themselves in a position that is subservient in the relationship, like putting themselves in a dangerous position in a relationship by doing those things. Like those things are like almost like less than, like that might be old. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't do that no more. Like, do you still think it's, because I'm gonna be honest, I've never had a woman take my shoes off. Now here's the thing, I ain't married. So is that it? Like, let's talk. You know what? I'm developing my question as I walk through this here. Because as a man who's single, I value seeing women do wifely things.
Did y'all hear that?
For me to be able to determine that this is a woman that deserves wifeship.
Absolutely.
Because I can't imagine. I know people say, you know, you ain't married, you don't deserve this and that. I can't imagine marrying a woman and all of a sudden a switch, as soon as we say our vows, a switch pops up. And all of a sudden she's cooking, cleaning, taking off boots and rubbing bald heads. And she's never showed any indicator that she can do this in the past. So what is like that balance between not giving it all away, right? Showing that you are capable of these wifely duties, yet not necessarily, like they say, what is it? Giving away the cow, if you will. What's that balance?
Well, if we honestly saying that we like roles, then that roles would be the husband is first,
Mhm.
the wife comes up below him, and then the children, right? So we're in our gender roles, we operate the same way. So when we get married, my husband and I become one.
Mhm.
That's all about sacrifice. It's all about selflessness. So why wouldn't I give all to my husband? I'm submitting everything to him. Why wouldn't I do that? Because he's actually submitting to me also.
Mhm.
So this is the person you give all to. You sleep with several different people and you're giving and submitting to them. Why not give it all to your man, your husband? So why not do that?
Oh, so
So-
so sex, you saying is an act of submission? I think I missed that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But see
So-
what I guess I was more so speaking for the single, like for the people that's in the single dating portion before they get to marriage.
How can they show you?
Like, yeah, like exactly.
Mhm.
They really can't. They can only show you or tell you that I'm an adult woman and I want to be a wife, and they would operate in that realm. They would be cooking meals. You still can cook your boyfriend a meal if it's only one time a week.
Mhm.
You would still have a clean house.
Right.
One
Yep.
red flag. Look in her trunk of her car.
Yeah.
If it's messy, not a wife.
Wow.
Not a
Mhm.
wife. So things like that you look for
Yep.
because, we don't want to set up. We don't want that person, that does it to get you. And then soon as she got you,
Yeah.
all this hell breaks loose and
Yep.
everything's messy. She doesn't cook anymore. She don't want, let's cater this, let's do this, let's do that. You don't want that. You want that
Right.
real woman that really wants to be a wife and does it, it's no big deal to service her husband. That's the person you should be servicing. You're
Right.
supposed to be in 100%. But I guess a woman would actually talk to you and tell you her intentions. These are my intentions, and this is what it looks like. I want to be a wife. This is what I would do for my husband. And all she can do the most. I'm not washing your clothes as a single woman. I'm not doing that, but I am
Mm.
washing my own.
Yeah.
I am keeping my house clean.